They're here.
So yeah, at first, I just didn't know what to do.
At first, Daddy was confused.
I didn't know it was going to affect people in Nassau and Freeport.
And then I told him it was just the first 3 numbers.
Our new phone numbers have arrived, but there is no need to be afraid. Only the first 3 numbers have changed. The new numbers are in effect now.
Good evening, Bahamas. This is NB12 broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Here's what's making news tonight. Officers stormed Nassau Village and Pinewood, leaving many residents upset. A Defense Force officer charged with drug smuggling. The Prime Minister jokes about the leaked gaming bill, plus a new radar system for LPIA in 14 months. Those stories and much more on the way, and Nakia DeVoe at NB12 starts right now. Joining us here at NB12. The Royal Bahamas Police Force has pledged to crack down on alleged prolific offenders throughout the country. That effort continued last night as police took 56 people into custody on New Providence alone. But residents of one community where police say the crime problem is particularly acute were left angered by the force of yesterday's raids, particularly as one popular figure in the area is about to be laid to rest. Juan McCartney reports.
Family and friends of Julian Colley say police added insult to injury when they raided his home and his neighbors' homes and other homes through Nassau Village Thursday night. Colley, who was also known as Heads, was the suspected leader of the fire and theft crew in Nassau Village, according to police, though his family denies those allegations. He was killed last month and his funeral is this weekend. As police rounded up suspected members of the fire and theft crew throughout Nassau Village and Pinewood in force, many residents were less than enthused about their presence. Street by street, police officers fanned through the area, picking up young men, many of whom they claim had outstanding warrants. But Julian Colley's older brother, Elric Colley, said he saw no reason for police to disturb his family, especially given that the family was reportedly on its way to see Julian's body at a local funeral home.
At 6:15 thereabouts, about 10 cars, 15 cars, 2 vans, everything slide up around here, almost with 18 cars in total. Slide up around here. They come here with one bogus warrant, say they're looking for, what is looking for, sir?
So they're coming for
House breaking and steal and armed robbery and all this other nonsense. They went across the road in my neighbor's house. Lock up, take the little boys outside the house who was watching TV. And apparently lock them up. Detain them. They go on, any young man they meet on the road or they meet who they knew, who hang with my brother or was with my brother, they lock them up. So when they do this and take all the young people out of the area, it takes away from the area because then again, them who doing this foolishness can come in here and do whatever they want to do. They had a whole shooting down in by the Fleming Street Clinic. If they had used the force they used in Fleming Street Clinic today, they wouldn't have the problems they had in there. They don't have no problems here. They came to us and they asked us to keep the peace. We did that. We went and we talked to everybody and kept the peace. We had no problems around here. But you see, this falls at the feet of Keith Bell and B.J. Nottage.
Julian's mother, Sarah Colley, said she was starting to come to grips with her son's death, but this latest event has unsettled her once again.
I see a squad of police come with more gun and if they was going in the army, they wouldn't have as much gun as they come bolting inside here. That's all they was doing, just bolting. I say, hold on, what happened? What's going on? We looking for house breaking and armed robbery. So I said, hold on, who? My name is on this warrant. What's your name? I said, my name is on this warrant. What's your name? I said, my name is Sarah Colley. That's what my name is. But anyhow, God is God, and God can always be God. But the police force, I can put them in the front of God and let God deal with them. My son laying out dead. Even they ain't going to see him after he dressed, and they swarm this house like this. But I asked them if they know who the man called Jesus.
Julian Colley's cousins live in nearby Pinewood Gardens. Deidre King said police were excessively rough in searching her Jacaranda Street home last night. She said they left no stone unturned and didn't act how she thought police officers should.
I used to scare them terrible, but I say, you know what, I say, let them do their job, and they walk in the back of the yard, walk over here in the bush, in the back, all around. They ain't fine, nothing to say, nothing to find.
Now, I understand they took some young men from around here?
Yeah.
Like, how many young men?
Oh.
Couple of them.
Seven or eight. 10 of them. People who just even pass, or who just walk in the yard, they carry all them too. You know, yeah. It's just terrible, man. They just harassing your can on bad for no reason, you know. You ain't find nothing. I don't know what they're looking for. I can't say, you know. They been in my auntie house, trash up her house. It's no justice. No justice.
As we said, many others were targeted for arrest. Police locked up this woman's son at her Price Street home, she claims without justification. She didn't want to be identified yesterday, but she said police will see her again.
When they came in my house, if they don't want to lie, they can say they meet him house watching TV because he's playing a game. You understand me? And I'm very, very disturbed. I'm very disturbed. And tomorrow I'm going to complaint unit and I'm going to file a complaint because I don't think it's right.
When we spoke to Assistant Commissioner of Police Leon Bethel today, he made no apologies. He said the police force will use more force moving forward to actively arrest and charge those who police have valid intelligence on. He said the public has been crying out to crack down on young men who have been terrorizing the public, and it can be expected to continue. However, some people who support the police said they don't like how they're handling the situation.
2 boys what they carry live over there. They been right there, just coming from work. They been playing dominoes. The guys them don't do nothing because they know when the police lock them up, they beat them to make them say things they ain't do. They sitting there standing in the yard. They don't even know no warrant. They playing dominoes. The guys them playing dominoes. Why come in the yard where they live and neighbors getting along playing dominoes, fooling with the people cheering? Why? Why they doing that? They lock people cheering up. They beat one of my nephews. They beat a couple of my nephews. Make them sign papers, stand no, but send them to jail for what? For nothing. They out there doing the crime. They killing people cheering. Us famous people need to stand for our rights and stop playing with them, man. They doing their job and they doing it the wrong way.
Meantime, police say they will maintain a presence at Julian Colley's funeral. Colley's funeral will be held at the final hour in Fox Hill Saturday afternoon. Reporting for NB12, I'm Juan McCartney.
Nearly 2 weeks after a former police officer was arraigned on drug-related charges, a young Defense Force officer and another man were charged in the magistrate's court this afternoon with conspiring to possess dangerous drugs. Their loved ones waited in the sweltering heat for hours for the 2 men who were both denied bail. Vonig Toot reports.
Following a nearly 3-hour delay, Defense Force officer Brian Andrew Young and his alleged co-pilot Marvin Poitier were arraigned here at the magistrate's court just minutes before 5 p.m. They were charged in connection with that drug seizure on Grand Bahama. Officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit transported the 2 men to the South Street Magistrates Court complex in a white SUV. Young, who is wearing the pink shirt, and Poitier, seen here in the blue shirt and black jacket, appeared before Deputy Chief Magistrate Carolita Bethel. The 29-year-old Defense Force officer was charged with possession of dangerous drugs with intent to supply. He was allegedly found in possession of 2.2 pounds of cocaine in Freeport on Wednesday. He pleaded not guilty to that charge. Meantime, Young and 40-year-old Poitier were both charged with conspiracy to possess dangerous drugs with intent to supply. They pleaded not guilty. Inside court today, one of Young's relatives held her head and cried as the charges were read. The 2 men were denied bail as the magistrate's court does not have jurisdiction to grant bail. However, Bethel informed them that they do have the right to apply in the Supreme Court. This matter has been adjourned to October 10th. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonig Toot.
Shackled at the feet and handcuffed, David Stewart was hauled from an unmarked police vehicle this morning under heavy police security and quickly taken to Magistrate Court No. 2 in Grand Bahama. Stewart, 22 years old, was charged with the Monday, April 29th murder of 2-year-old Peter Emmanuel Higgs. Under heavy police guard, Stewart was carried up the steps to the rear door of the Justice Center. Minutes later, he stood before Magistrate Andrew Forbes, unrepresented by an attorney, hearing the charge of murder read to him. The magistrate told Stewart that because of the nature of the offense, he was not required to enter a plea and was denied bail. A preliminary inquiry was set for Monday, August 19th of this year. He was remanded until that date. Well, Constable Bruce Chisholm, the police officer who testified yesterday that he collected oral and anal swabs and smears after witnessing an autopsy back in 2011, was back on the stand today, continuing his testimony under cross-examination. Chisholm is testifying in the murder trial of Kofi Goodman, who is accused of killing 11-year-old Marco Archer between September 23rd and 28th of 2011. Jasmine Bonamy was in court and filed this report.
Back on the stand this morning was Officer Chisholm. In previous testimony, Chisholm said he watched as Dr. Karen Sands performed an autopsy on the body of an unidentified male on September 29th. Continuing in his testimony this afternoon, the jury and court were shown photos taken by Chisholm. Chisholm testified that the 11 photos submitted to the court showed the decomposing body of a male. When asked by defense attorney Jeffrey Farquharson how he knew the sex of the male, the officer replied that he could clearly see the male genitals still attached. Chisholm also testified that some of the photographs showed suspected fracture to the skull, but Farquharson argued that the fractures to the lifeless body could have been caused by decomposition. In previous testimony, Chisholm had said Sands gave him a sexual offense kit that contained anal and oral swabs. Chisholm said he submitted these specimens to the lab and requested that they be examined for semen, spermatozoa, and DNA on September 30th. He said Sands gave him tissue samples that he submitted for DNA profiling to determine the identity of the deceased. Goodman, who is also known as Eduardo Ferguson, has pleaded not guilty to the charge. He is being tried before Justice Bernard Turner. Police found the decomposing remains of a naked male in bushes behind an apartment complex on September 28, 2011, 5 days after Archer failed to return home. Garvin Gaskin, the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, is the lead prosecutor. Goodman remains on remand at Her Majesty's prisons. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
Still to come on NB12, the Ministry of Transport and Aviation signs a contract for a new radar system and 3D tower simulator.
It is not a simple task. It is complex and is dressed in a sense of urgency.
We'll have all the details later in the newscast, but first, the Prime Minister breaks his silence on the proposed Gaming Act and the F&M responds to criticism. Stay tuned for those stories and much more. We'll be back.